Hi everyone, this is Ashley Holben with Mobility International USA. It's great to see everyone, and I just want to be the first to welcome you to our webinar on Careers in International Development, which is a virtual career fair for people with disabilities. I'm really excited for this opportunity to bring together representatives from international development organizations and people from the deaf and disability community who are seeking out opportunities or at least exploring their options. So I want to start us off by sharing a couple of housekeeping tips, especially if you're new to Zoom. First of all, if you would like to use captions, I'm including a link in the chat window to a caption stream, or you can click the Show Subtitles button, which is just to the right of the closed caption button, and that'll activate captions as well. I want to ask that you please keep your video and microphone off during the presentations. That'll create a smoother experience. You're welcome to ask questions through the chat box. If you need any technical assistance, my colleague Monica can assist you. If you have questions for the presenters, you're welcome to put them in the chat box at any time, but we are going to wait until the last 15 minutes of the presentation to start posing the questions to the presenters. There's also an ASL interpreting team. We have spotlighted the interpreter's video, so even when we're sharing our screen, you should be able to see the interpreter at all times. But if you're having any technical issues, again, just let us know using the chat box. This webinar, as I said, is going to be recorded, and we're also going to make the webinar recording and the slide presentation available to all the participants after this presentation. And then a note for our presenters today. You're going to be hearing from representatives from 10 international development organizations. And Susan's going to tell you a little bit more about what they all have in common. But one note for the presenters is that I'm going to be keeping a very mean, strict timeline, timekeeping. So every 5 minutes, it'll be time to change presenters because we have a lot to cover today. And with that, Susan, you've got 2 minutes.
All right, well, I'm going to be fast. Well, first of all, welcome everybody, both who are here with us live and those who will be listening to the recording, watching the recording later. I want to thank our EDDI members, and EDDI stands for Excellence in Development and Disability Inclusion. And all the wonderful organizations that are represented today belong to MIUSA's EDDI program, which is a membership where they have already committed their strong commitment to not only diversity, but also diversity which includes and actively wants to recruit more people with disability into international careers. So again, thank you for being an EDDI member, and thank you for being here. I also want to welcome all the people who are joining us, students, disability organizations, leaders, and we hope that while you're listening and watching this webinar, that you will really be encouraged, not just for yourself, but to tell others about these organizations, to consider applying for jobs, getting internships, perhaps being on an advisory committee, being a consultant. And I think this is so important because we at MIUSA are really committed to building the pipeline of leaders with disabilities, not only so they can get jobs and be employed, but because it's only through their participation in leadership positions in these organizations that we're really going to change the world so it's a more equitable and just world for everybody, including people with disabilities. So I'm really excited. I want to thank you all for taking the time to be here today, and I'm excited to hear the presenters and looking forward to your questions. So with that, I want to have lots of time for the presenters. Thank you again, and thank you, Ashley, and the MIUSA team for all you did to make this happen. And Ashley, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Fabulous. This is Ashley here. Thanks for that, Susan. And I just want to remind everyone who's not presenting, if you could turn your video and microphone off, I think that might help. I'd like to think that that will help the connection be smoother. So I'm going to start sharing slides, and Bill from Trickle Up is going to be talking about his organization.
Okay. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Susan. Welcome to everybody. Ashley, everything coming through clearly?
Yes, are you able to see the screen there?
I am.
Great. And can I just also remind all presenters, if there are any photos on your slides, just give us a quick description of what is in the photo for accessibility. All right, take it away, Bill.
Okay. I just started my timer on my watch, so I'll try to live up to the 5-minute standard. It's great to be here with all of you. Working with people with disabilities is a very important part of Trickle Up. We're huge fans of MIUSA and EDDI, and I'm a great personal fan of Susan, a good close friend. So really happy to be here today to represent Trickle Up. Let me tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do, and I'll speak specifically about jobs and employment at Trickle Up, since that's the purpose of the day. I don't know how many of you have heard of Trickle Up, but we were founded in 1979, very pioneering in many ways, and our work then, as in today, even with the natural changes that come along over 40 years, is we are focused on helping people who live in conditions of extreme poverty and vulnerability advance their economic and social well-being. We aim to drive large-scale change by partnering with governments, global institutions, and local organizations. One of the things I think is important for Trickle Up and been a driver behind our success and vitality over the years is the constancy of focus, particularly around the people we are trying to support. And they're people who are one way or another typically left out of society or the mainstream for either for reasons of poverty or vulnerability or both. And really about 15 years ago, and it was very much because of MIUSA, we really increased our commitment to serving people with disabilities. And we were part of a project at the time to try to raise the disability consciousness and focus on disability issues in our work, which has always been poverty alleviation. And as we began to kind of understand more fully the correlation between poverty and disability is sky high. So you can't really be serious about working with the extreme poor if you're not also paying attention to conditions of disability. So it's been part of our work in a significant way for over a dozen years. We've been honored by Interaction and USAID for some of the work we do. So we're proud of being able to bring a kind of disabilities perspective to the fundamental work of livelihoods and economic development. If you could go to the next slide, please. So as I say, this is the focus. Now, for a long time, we've always sort of talked about reaching the poorest and most vulnerable. And it really has been in the past dozen or so years that we've really doubled down on the question of vulnerability. What does that mean? And as we began to identify specific, highly vulnerable populations where we felt we could make a difference. So one, of course, is people with disabilities. Over the last several years, we built up a significant practice working with refugees and displaced people around the world, working closely with the UN Refugee Commission and others. And people who are facing discrimination because of their identity, ethnicity, caste, religion, or other identity. Almost everyone we work with is female. Our program is based around some very simple inputs: seed capital grants to help people start a business, skills training and coaching, and helping people gain the skills and confidence that can last them a lifetime long after they're actively involved with Trickle Up. Our work geographically is in Latin America, particularly Guatemala and Mexico, Africa, in West Africa and Burkina Faso and Uganda, and in Asia, in India, Vietnam, and Bangladesh, as well as with refugees and in several countries. Next slide, please. And there's lots more on our website. There's lots of content there. So specifically in terms of careers, our staff size is about 50 people, divided between our headquarters in the US, which is about 18 people, and then 30 or 35 other people in our regional offices in Calcutta, India, Coban, Guatemala, and Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. All of our jobs are posted on our website. So that's a very important principle, not only for equity and also making sure we are getting the word out and attracting the best possible talent you know, it's a relatively small organization, 50 or 60 people. We don't have a lot of openings. It's usually, you know, half dozen or 10 at most in a single year. They tend to be pretty specific in terms of the kind of job profile and experience we're looking for. We do have internships mostly in our New York office. Now I guess it'll be virtual. Those also are posted. And finally, I would just mention our board has 22 members, and one of our goals for the board is that it should reflect the work we do, including having people whose origins are in the regions where we work, people with disabilities where we do have representation on our board. So I'm now at 5 minutes and 20 seconds, so I hope that was a good introduction. I apologize, I can't stay very long today. It's kind of a crazy day. So there may be questions during the Q&A, and Ashley and Susan can.
Certainly, and we'll be glad to relay those to you.
And I'll be happy to answer them via email. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill, and bravo on keeping time. Way to set the pace. All right, and I'd like to now invite our presenter from PCI to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Dorman. I'm our manager for Global Talent Acquisition and HR for Project Concern International, or PCI. And we actually are going through, one important note to make would be that we're going through a merger right now. So that's why you also see a Global Communities partner in our title. So we are going through a merger with Global Communities. I will be sharing their website as well on my final slide. So you'll be able to see their opportunities too. But I just wanted to make note of that so there's no confusion, but currently we are PCI, a Global Communities partner. Our mission is to empower people to enhance health and hunger, overcome hardship, and advance women and girls. And you can advance the slide actually. So those, as I mentioned, those are our four key areas that PCI works within. We have projects that really span over health, hunger, hardship, women and girls. That includes maternal, newborn, and child health, disease mitigation and prevention, food security, nutrition, disaster relief, women's empowerment, and many other technical areas that we work within. Our website really gives a good layout of all of our technical areas that fall under these four main I guess, pillars, you could say. And just for those, just to describe the pictures on the slide, there is just a graphic at the top that has those four main areas. So enhance health and hunger, overcome hardship, advance women and girls. And then we also have on the left-hand side of the slide, there is one of our children from Tanzania is on there. So I just wanted to explain the pictures. And right now, our geographic focus, just as PCI, is across Africa, Latin America, Asia, and the United States. That will be changing. As I mentioned, we're going through a merger, so it will be expanding quite a bit with Global Communities. You can advance to the next slide. So I did include, as I mentioned, both our careers website and also our partner Global Communities. I included theirs as well. So you can take a look, you can see all of the different opportunities that right now both organizations have, and then we'll be merging probably those websites in the next year or so. And both of us, PCI is headquartered in San Diego. So we have positions that are both in San Diego and in Washington, DC. Our partner, Global Communities, is based in Silver Spring, Maryland. So they have positions there as well in the US. And then both organizations have international positions, so our field positions, consultants, and we also do have internships that are typically seasonal, fall, spring, and summer internships that are available, and they are, for equity reasons, they are all paid internships. So just wanted to say we're very excited to be presenting with EDDI. We really appreciate the opportunity. We've taken a lot of steps, I would say, over the last really, since I've been with PCI for about four and a half years, taking a lot of steps towards our diversity efforts. We do have what we call a dignity initiative, which focuses on really getting our staff up to speed and really understanding diversity in the workplace and how we can be socially inclusive. So it's been a big effort both within PCI, and also our president and CEO has, I know she's taken a few pledges, one of them with interaction. So that has been something that you can probably find a little more information on our website. But we are very, very excited to be included in this presentation and be able to look for ways to diversify our workplace even more. It's something we've been doing over the past several years, but we are always looking to improve that. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and please take a look at our careers website.
Thank you, Rachel. That sounds like many amazing opportunities. I'm also going to invite our presenters from Save the Children. We have Trish and Sharon.
My name is Trish Ferret. I am the Senior Director of Talent Acquisition for Save the Children, and apparently the chief goof on Zoom, so I apologize for that. I'd like to introduce Sharon, who is our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for Save the Children as well. And our email addresses are front and center on the title slide there. We want you all to take note of that. It's T as in Trish, Ferret, F-E-R-R-E-T-T, at savechildren.org. And Sharon's is S as in Sam, Jones, J-O-N-E-S, at savechildren.org. And the photo on this slide is of one of our beneficiaries, Mir, who is deaf, who is in our child safeguarding area in Rohingya. And the photo depicts one of our staff members. It's not very clear what he's signing, but he is signing to Mir. We try to be inclusive in our programming as well as our recruitment and our staff. So wanted to present a picture of how we're doing that. So that's our first slide. So if we can move on to the next one. Okay, and so real briefly, for those of you who aren't familiar with Save the Children, we are a large global organization. We're here to represent Save the Children US today, but our global movement does work from just shared vision, mission, and values. We believe in a world in which every child attains the right to survival, protection, development, and participation. And our mission is to inspire breakthroughs in the way the world treats children and achieve immediate and lasting change in their lives. And we're united by our values, which are accountability, ambition, collaboration, creativity, and integrity. We work in over 128 countries, including the United States. That's a great thing to talk about in the elevator and with family. They always want to know, what are you doing in the US? Well, we work here too. We have 29 member organizations across the Save the Children movement. Today, we're just talking about Save the Children US, but our international programming work includes global health, education and child protection, hunger and livelihoods, advocacy, and humanitarian response. But in case you want to do that in the US as well, we focus on early childhood development and literacy, including Head Start programs. We are a Head Start grantee, building communities of support, and disaster preparedness and resilience. So those are a lot of what we do, but don't forget, we also have careers in our basic operations just to keep the lights on and things going on time. Everything from IT to finance to legal, HR, marketing and communications, and fundraising. And I'll pivot over to Sharon, who can talk about our disability inclusion.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Trish. You can go to the next slide, please. I forget how long it's been now, Susan, but Save the Children partnered with MIUSA and was so helpful to have their perspective as we build out our approach to disability inclusion at SAVE. And what that is an inside-out approach. We work to ensure that we are reaching children who are the most marginalized, and often those children have disabilities. And so what we recognize is that the most efficient and effective way to reach children with disabilities is to ensure that we are hiring and retaining staff with disabilities as well. And so we've partnered internally to ensure that not only from a programmatic standpoint that we're reaching children, but that we are doing all that we can to ensure that our people that we hire have a really rich experience. And so first, we plan to create a disability confident workplace, one where everyone feels empowered to have, discuss, or respond to our people with disabilities. And that starts quite candidly at the applicant, the person who visits our website to apply for a job, all the way through to our employees moving through our agency. And so we intend to continue hiring, retaining, and promoting people with disabilities at all levels, and we're going to do that intentionally by partnering with other DPOs to really kind of build that rich pipeline of talent at all levels. And our focus will be to integrate disability and inclusion into our overall DEI strategy. It's not an add-on, it is integrated and inclusive. We are looking at, to identify and eliminate any barriers and policies or practices that might negatively impact people with disabilities and change their employee experience in a negative way. We're going to eliminate those barriers. We're also looking at infrastructure, everything from our space and how accessible our space is to how we budget for reasonable accommodation. And as Trish mentioned, all of our efforts are grounded, deeply grounded in our values of accountability, ambition, collaboration, creativity, and integrity. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Trish.
Okay, and this is Ashley, just to let you know, this is your 1 minute warning.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I'm good to go.
Great. We're ready.
Okay. So if you want to know what's in it for you, that's always the big question. It's not just enough to have a great place to work. It's about what we offer you as an employee. And we're excited and proud that we have an exciting, engaged, inclusive, and impactful place to work and thrive. And that, of course, we have benefits. We have great benefits. I'm very proud of it. Lots of paid leave, so much and so that I have a hard time using it all. We have a 403B plan with up to an 8% match. We have life insurance. We even have pet insurance. So we've got a really great benefits team who is always working to find ways to reward and enhance our experience at Save the Children. But not only that, there's opportunities to learn and grow as an individual and as a professional. I'm super proud of our employee engagement team that puts together really top-notch professional and personal development training. We have 3 different programs for different levels, different professional levels, one for individual contributors, one for new managers, and one for growing leaders in the organization. And then we have an exciting thing called the Charlie Sam Fund every year, where employees can submit proposals to go on trips, to see our programs across the world, to work for a week alongside our colleagues in the field, to really touch our programs. And for those of us who are in our support functions, we don't get to do that all the time. So this is a great way to really touch our mission. The other thing is staying engaged. And one thing that Sharon has been a big part of, but that started organically, is our Save the Children Diversity Council, and most importantly, our employee affinity groups. We have a very great, well, very great, I sound like somebody, but one called Dawn. And the members of that group, they are individuals who have either self-identified as individuals with disabilities that Save the Children or allies. And they have agreed to speak with members of this group after this call. All you have to do is contact me directly, and we're happy to match you up with one of them so you can talk about their time here at Save the Children, their career and their path. If we can go to the next slide real quickly. I'm not going to talk through it, but I do want to show you guys that we are hiring. We have lots of open positions right now, certainly not as many as we usually would. But I do want to draw your attention to a current consultancy that we have available right now. Recruiting will begin next week. It's for a disability inclusion advocacy consultant. So if you are interested in that and you've got time this summer, we would love to talk to you. So again, my email is T as in Trish, Ferret, F-E-R-R-E-T-T @savechildren.org.
Wow, thank you so much, both Trish and Sharon. That's really exciting news. And I hope a lot of people on this webinar and beyond will take advantage of that. Let's see, I'd like to invite our presenter from World Learning up to the microphone.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you just great.
Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Syed. I am an international recruiter with World Learning. I also work in a number of different areas within HR, and I'm also on the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force at World Learning, so this is something that's very near and dear to my heart as well. I'll start off by saying and reading our mission, which is to work globally to enhance the capacity and commitment of individuals, institutions, and communities to create a more sustainable, peaceful, and just world. And as our brand illustrates, we primarily accomplish this through 3 different methods: education, development, as well as exchange. Our education side of the house is primarily based out of Vermont, Brattleboro, and that encompasses our accredited undergraduate study abroad programs, as well as our accredited internationally focused master's degrees. And then we have the exchange side of things, such as the Experiment in International Living, which is really just international education through exchanges. And in that sort of, in our exchange program, we work heavily with the Department of State. And then the development side, which is primarily based out of DC, we work extensively with USAID. We have projects all across the world. Mainly we focus on education, early childhood education, but we do also have projects involving peace building as well as strengthening of governance. And then right over here, I also have a link more that you can read about World Learning, and that can be accessed there. You can go to the next slide. So as far as opportunities with World Learning go, so we have domestic opportunities, international, as well as internships. I'll speak a little bit more about our internships here. We usually bring on, well, pre-COVID, we would usually bring on about anywhere from 30 to 50 interns a year. And this is spread out between the fall semester, spring semester, and summer semester. This year, for the summer, we had to cut down on a number of the internships. However, we're planning on ramping up back in the fall. With our domestic positions, I'll flag 2 that I think would be very, very relevant, is our program associates and our program officer positions. We recruit for those heavily, and with our program associate positions, we probably bring on about 30 to 40 as well per year, and then we probably hire around 25 to 30 program officers per year. And so all of those can be found through that link to access our careers page. And next slide. Well, I think that is it on my end.
Wow, you were lightning fast. Well, thank you so much, Syed. You know, we at MIUSA have known so many phenomenal people with disabilities who have gotten their start at World Learning, either as interns or as young professionals. So really excited by all the work that World Learning is doing to build that pipeline. Continuing on, I would like to invite Catherine from Solidarity Center to come present.
Super, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
You sound good to me.
Great. So my name's Catherine Pajich. It is pronounced nothing like it's spelled. That's P-A-J-I-C. And so if you want to reach me by email, it's my first initial C for Catherine, and then my last name, P-A-J-I-C, @solidaritycenter.org. And that's where you can find our website at solidaritycenter.org as well. Our mission in just 4 words really is promoting worker rights worldwide. And what that means to us is we support trade unions, the labor movement, And we really look at worker rights as being part of the broader human rights spectrum. And we know that there are within the field of workplace rights, there are communities that have additional needs. So we make an effort. We, in fact, recently started an equality and inclusion department so that we could focus our work with our partners across the world on addressing some of the needs across different communities and taking an intersectional approach, knowing that people don't just identify as their gender, their sexual orientation, their religion, their race, their disability, but there are a lot of these intersecting identities. But at the same time, it's important to help our partners in the field to appreciate that even within their union, within their sector, people have different needs that need to be addressed and that they need to be included in the decisions being made by the union. So if we go to the next slide, I can talk a little more about what we do. So when I say, promoting worker rights, what that really means is helping workers to defend their right to freedom of association. And that takes the form of organizing, advocacy, raising awareness, negotiating with their employers, which is essentially collective bargaining, and then trying to change legislation and policy. And the issues that they often focus on deal with workplace safety, especially right now. That is a really important issue. I mean, it always is, but it's coming to the forefront now during this pandemic. Living wages, which in many parts of the world, and some would argue here as well, are really critical and not being addressed. Job protection, and then of course fighting exploitation and abuse. So we do a lot of work around trafficking and child labor and so on. We work in about 60 different countries. Our staff number about 225. Our headquarters is in Washington, D.C., and I think here in DC we have about 75 staff, and the rest of our staff are spread out around the world. We deal with over 400 different trade unions, NGOs, different kinds of human rights defenders, women's associations, and various coalitions. And the sectors in which we work or that we assist include garment factories, domestic workers, seafood processing, mining, agriculture, a lot of focus on migrant and informal workers, the manufacturing sector, and the public sector as well. Next slide. So we are still hiring right now. It's a little tricky because, of course, all of us we're on universal telework. All of our offices around the world are shut down and people are working from home. We are starting to gradually look at a process for reopening some of our smaller offices in countries where the pandemic is, seems to be somewhat under control. So maybe some of our offices in, maybe in Vietnam or Thailand, where we only have a few people in the office and it's manageable. Here in DC, we don't anticipate going back into the office until probably the end of the summer, but we're still hiring, and in fact, we've got 3 or 4 people starting on Monday, and you can find the job opportunities listed on our website, solidaritycenter.org/whoweare/jobs. We have in our DC office, we mainly hire just full-time, and those can be at all different levels, starting from program assistant and administrative assistant up to senior program officers and managers. We have opportunities abroad that are for both non-citizens of the country in which they're working and people who are hired locally. So for example, right now, we have a position open for someone to go to Mexico, someone in Brazil, someone in Guatemala. I think we also have maybe a South Africa position that's open. And these are for people who are not from that country. And when we are able to travel again, we'll deploy them to country with full housing benefits, home leave, an education allowance for children, and so on. We also have local hires, which are, now that I've come to the Solidarity Center, I'm now 4 months into my job, we're starting to put those on our website as well. So we just hired, for example, someone in our Mexico office who is a Mexican citizen. We just hired someone in Tunisia who's a Tunisian citizen. And those were advertised on our website. And I anticipate we'll be advertising more of those jobs on our website. We also have summer internships, and unfortunately this summer we're not going to be bringing anyone on. Typically it's a 10-week program with a $5,000 stipend, and it's mainly in the United States. Sometimes we have interns abroad. We don't send them abroad, but if you're in country, let's say you're a citizen of Morocco and we have an opportunity in Morocco for an internship, then you can have an internship there. And it's typically about a dozen, not more than 20 interns a summer. I also want to just say that we've been focusing, as I said, I came on board about 4 months ago because Solidarity Center was experiencing and is experiencing a real expansion. So we have a lot of hiring coming up once we're past this pandemic. We're going to be doing more hiring. But we also expanded with an equality and inclusion department that will not only be working with our partners in different countries on how they can address the needs of a number of different types of communities within their union, but also working internally within the Solidarity Center. In fact, I'll be working hand in hand with this person on how we can diversify our own staff and and do a better job within the organization of helping people to become more aware of kind of how to have these conversations that can sometimes be very difficult around race, gender, and so on, but also how we can diversify our recruiting and hiring. So this is really a big initiative for us, and it came from within the staff. It wasn't something that was kind of brought down from above, but our own staff who have a union said this is something we need to do. So I encourage you all to look at our website, to look at our opportunities, and to contact me through LinkedIn or my email.
Thank you so much, Catherine. This is Ashley. We'll definitely make sure that people have a way to get in touch with you about all these really exciting internships and other opportunities in the future. I'd like to invite our presenter from International Youth Foundation to introduce themselves.
Hi. I think
Hi.
I'm going to advance a slide. There we go. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Patricia Davila. Last name is Davila, D as in David, A, V as in Victor, I-L-A. I'm a program coordinator primarily in the Americas region, primarily Latin America and the Caribbean. I'm a program coordinator. And my email, if you'd like to reach out, is P as in Patricia .davila, my last name, at iyfnet.org. And so our tagline, our motto is transforming lives together. And on the slide here, you can see our logo for International Youth Foundation, and it's a there are three figures holding hands, sort of in celebration, with the image of the globe in the background, sort of just showing our commitment to connecting young people around the world to opportunities. You can go to the next slide. So, well, first, just a little bit of history about IYF. So we've been around for 30 years, and through those 30 years, we've driven positive youth development around the world. And through our experience and partnerships, we continue to enrich the global understanding of how to connect to young people with hope, jobs, and a brighter future. So again, our mission is to connect young people with opportunities to transform their lives through partnerships to ensure youth develop the leadership, technical, and life skills to earn a livelihood, becoming productive citizens and even change makers. So we're headquartered actually in Baltimore, Maryland, in the US, but we also have 9 country offices across the world, across Africa, Middle East, North Africa, Central Asia, and Latin America. And we've worked, actually it's over 100 countries. I don't know why I have 80 in there, but it's over 100 countries. And we have touched about 7.7 million young people through our programs, and have partnered with 615 different organizations in 30 years. And IYF is also committed to advancing social inclusion, breaking down barriers, limiting young people's chances to thrive, and just, again, ensuring that all have equal access to our programs and encouraging equal outcomes as well. On this page, we have one of our quote cards. This quote is from Melanie Tran in Australia, who's actually an International Youth Foundation Youth Action Net Fellow and also a Youth TEDx speaker and disability rights activist in Australia. And this quote says, "Education never stops. It goes way beyond the institution, the certificate, or the fellowship. Everything, life itself, is educational." And this is one of our quote cards for Youth Day back in 2019. So just talking a little bit more about our opportunities, if we can advance the slide. So all of our job openings are listed on our website, our job board. It's www.iyfnet.org/work-IYF. We have a couple of openings currently in the US. Controller and program coordinator, specifically for our Youth Opportunities Program, which is funded by McDonald's. We don't have a ton of openings at the moment in the US, especially with COVID-19, but hopefully, in the next year we will have more in the US. But we do also have positions available around the world, Kenya, Liberia, Mexico, South Africa, and Ukraine at the moment, but those always change with our programs, coming and going. So just keep an eye out on that job board. Everything is listed there. We have also a generous benefits package. I want to just brag about that. So we have 20 vacation days, 11 paid holidays, and this is around the world. Everyone gets the same amount of holidays and vacation days. We also have, it also depends on the rules with the local governments, but that's generally our stance is 20 vacation days, 10 personal days, 1 floating holiday per year, comprehensive health insurance, flexible telecommuting, among others. All of those, there's a comprehensive description of our benefits on our website. And again, here I just put an image, another quote of basically a testimonial from an employee. And it says, "I've worked at IYF for almost 20 years with opportunities to learn and grow. I've built my skills in ways I know will benefit me for the rest of my career. One of the many reasons I've chosen to stay here, the main one is people. IYF is a team. We support one another, provide necessary feedback, work hard together, and have fun together." So just a little overview of IYF and our job opportunities, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Patricia. Liana, can you tell us about your organization?
Yes. Hi. Okay. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you today. My name is Liana Tabor. I work as Director of Programs at WEEMA International. Our website is listed here, weema.org. Just before I forget, we do currently have that website up. The address won't be changing, but we have a new website coming up in about a month that will have a lot more information about our programs and our approach that I'll be telling you about today. As an organization, WEEMA's mission is to partner with Ethiopian communities to improve access to clean water, education, economic opportunity, and healthcare, all driven by local leadership and collaboration. Next slide, please. So as an organization, what WEEMA does is we work on holistic community-led development, really with more of a grassroots-oriented approach and a focus on development by Ethiopians for Ethiopians. We're grounded in these principles of holistic community-led development, and we partner locally to improve people's well-being through 4 key program areas in the sectors of water, education, economic opportunity, and healthcare. On the right side of the slide, I have a diagram. It's a circular diagram with pie-sized pieces that show how these 4 programmatic areas in the specific projects we work on all tie together to contribute toward this community well-being. We are a relatively small or medium-sized organization in the US. We have a very small team that really supports the in-country team. In Ethiopia, we have about 50 staff, with some staff in the capital city in our head office, and then a lot of staff in the project sites implementing these programs. I also want to explain the reason we have the name WEEMA is that it comes from a local language in the area where we work, and it means wholeness or fulfillment, which also correlates with this diagram and our logo, which has 3 people holding up, sort of looking like a tree, and it's all about community coming together to reach this community well-being. Where projects are, as I mentioned, we're sort of grassroots oriented. We have projects in an area of 2 zones, which has about 2.5 million people, but most of our projects are focused on a district of about 150,000 people, really focused on our different programmatic areas. And when we hire staff, and Ashley, you can go to the next slide, please. When we hire staff in Ethiopia, we advertise in country at and local newspapers, including the Reporter, ethiojobs.net, and most of our opportunities are full-time positions. Occasionally we have short-term consultancies that are very focused, and we hire in the capital, and when we hire for field-based positions, we try to hire from the local community when possible. In the US, as I mentioned, we have a small team, but at this time we don't have current opportunities, but we have occasional opportunities, and when we do, we post online on websites such as Indeed.org, Idealist, and they're usually full-time. Sometimes we also have short-term consultancy opportunities in the US. And I was very speedy as well. I'm happy to answer any questions at any time.
No, that's fabulous. Thank you so much, Liana. All right. Wow, we're already coming to the end, unfortunately, but this has been really great, and we still have more organizations to present, and I'd like to invite Avani to talk about Core Group.
Great, thank you. I'm Avani Jigaraju. I'm the Communications and Knowledge Management Coordinator at Core Group. Our organizational mission is to improve and expand community health practices for underserved populations, especially women and children, through collaborative action and learning. Next slide, please. So Core Group, we like to call ourselves a hybrid model of membership, consortium building, knowledge management, technical expertise, and implementation. Our membership is composed of over 180 US and internationally based NGOs, faith-based organizations, private sector institutions, academia, and individuals collectively working to advance community health policy and implementation. We also have technical working groups and interest groups spanning various global health technical areas, and one of those also includes our Disability Inclusive Health Technical Advisory Group. For more information, you can see our website on how to be involved with that advisory group. We also have a Young Professionals Network, and here are listed some of our current and past programs and projects, including USAID's flagship maternal child survival program, our Core Group Polio project working in 7 countries around the world and integrated with global health security agenda. We also are working on the COVID-19 response and have various initiatives coming up in that response, including a summit happening July 1st and 2nd. We also are working on, a lot of different webinar series for COVID-19 response, as well as with the Global Financing Facility Civil Society Coordinating Group. Next slide, please. And I would like to also read out a statement from our Executive Director, Lisa Hilme, before discussing the opportunities available with us right now. Core Group is committed to an inclusive health agenda in our organizational strategy and programs. We are excited to ensure a diverse workplace, provide opportunities for advancement and mentorship, and grow as an organization by including people with disabilities in the important work we do for the global health community. As a membership nonprofit with over 180 organizations across the world, we hope to set an example for other organizations to learn about the incredible skills and talent people with disabilities offer. Right now, we have a couple of opportunities that are available. They're available on our website at www.coregroup.org/jobs-internships. We do have internships available. Our summer ones are currently full, but they are seasonal, so we will be soon opening applications for our fall internships as well. All internships come with a $2,000 stipend. Typically, our internships are in the knowledge management communications sector, and now we're also hiring interns for the COVID-19 response as well. Internships and other job opportunities are generally based in our DC office. Currently with the pandemic, we are working remotely, but hope that in the fall we will be back in the office. We are also currently hiring a global health fellow for strategic partnerships and business development. That fellowship opportunity is a 1 to 2 year fellowship with Core Group, also based in our DC office. In addition, we are hiring other opportunities as well, including a part-time accountant and a communications and knowledge manager. These can be found on our jobs page on our website. And I'm happy to answer any additional questions. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Avani, and please relay our thank you to Lisa Hilmy as well for her thoughtful statement. I'd like to ask Abby and Rachel from Chemonics to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Abby. I'm a recruiter with Chemonics, and I have Rachel here with me as well. We're going to share the platform.
Hi, I'm Rachel here.
Okay, so I think I'll just start with talking more about Chemonics. Chemonics was founded in 1975 and is one of the world's leading international development consulting firms. The mission of Chemonics is to promote meaningful change around the world to help people live healthier, more productive, and more independent lives. It's an employee-owned organization, which is pretty cool. We work in 76 countries currently, but since inception, we have aided about 150 countries. We have about 5,000 specialists spread across various parts of the world, which is also really, it just shows how much work Chemonics is getting done on the field. These 5,000 specialists are spread across various sectors. I'll name a few, but the broad list of all the sectors that Chemonics works in is on our website. So we have specialists that work in agriculture and health, economic growth and trade, education. We have, yes, and supply chain, which is like our biggest portfolio at the moment. There's a lot more sectors that we work in. I help recruit these specialists to work on development initiatives using systems that we have built in Chemonics. So I help recruit people like Rachel who are on the forefront. I'll leave Rachel now to talk more about what she does with Chemonics and the fun stuff, since I do the back end of the work.
Hi everyone, I am the project manager for one of Chemonics' project called Global Health Supply Chain. And so one of the greatest things about Chemonics is they have something called project management units, where we are assigned to work on a project in one or more of the countries. And we work closely with the field offices there and the local staff members there. And every day is different. One day we could be working on legal review, another day we could be working on budgeting, another day we could be working on planning and technical activity. And I should also mention that I am a person with disabilities. I am deaf and I use cochlear implants. And Chemonics is really fantastic about providing accommodations for a person with disabilities and ensuring that every technology, everything is accessible. For example, when it comes to teleconferences, which is something I do regularly every day, they have closed captioning on their platform that can just click closed captioning and it's available to anyone, whether they're deaf or hard of hearing. They are also able to provide interpreters when necessary for those who need them. Yeah, so they're really great about providing accommodations and being accessible. And they also have a diversity inclusion team that really focus on making sure that Chemonics is inclusive of everyone.
Okay, so I think we'll just hop on to our career opportunities. And I guess Rachel and I will just, I'll talk a bit, and if Rachel wants to add anything, then she will. We have quite a number of opportunities at the moment. Everything is listed on our website. We didn't have enough space to list them here. We have opportunities in the US, in our Washington, DC office, in our Crystal City office, and we also have opportunities in the field. Everything is listed there. On our website also, you'll see that we have a tab for consultants. We have a tab for our internships. Currently, we aren't, I guess because of COVID and all that's just gone on this year, we're not having our summer internship, but as things come up and as things change, anything that we have will be reflected on our website. I'll just mention too that 90% of the staff in the field are domestic, which is very encouraging, meaning that we're hiring people in the countries that we're working in as well, which helps communities. I don't know if Rachel has anything to add to that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, one of the greatest things about working in Chemonics is that we work directly with local counterparts in the field, and in a way that we are able to build their capacity to become self-aligned, and yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. This is actually, it's like you practiced that. That was 5 minutes exactly. So thank you, Abby and Rachel. And Rachel, thanks for your, sharing your kind of firsthand experience of what it's like to be an employee with a disability working in the international development field. And now I'd like to invite our final presenters from FHI 360.
Hi, this is Lee Warren. It's nice to be here. Bully and I will be presenting. I am one of the senior recruiters at FHI 360, and Bully is a technical officer. And he'll talk a little bit more in terms of our kind of inclusive diversity and inclusion and those areas. So I got pulled in. My director was unable to come, unfortunately, due to being ill. So bear with me, but I hope I can give some good information. FHI 360, we have been around for over 4 decades. Our mission ultimately is to improve lives in lasting ways by advancing integrated, locally driven solutions for human development. So ultimately, we want to really create a holistic approach, evidence-based, work with local communities. We had originally started back in 1971 in family planning at UNC, University of North Carolina, in research. And then we moved into the HIV/AIDS realm, and we then created a foundation and some not-for-profit organizations, and then acquired a company called EDDI, which really expanded. It really doubled us in size to about 4,000 staff, and we added nutrition and education, economic development, civil society. Our biggest area of focus, I would say, is our global health, but global education is very large as well. We do a lot of gender, we do nutrition, as I mentioned, research, youth, so quite a variety. Thank you for the slide change. We do work in 60 different countries. It's really across a variety of regions, so Asia Pacific, Sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa, Middle East, Europe, and Central Asia, and then Latin America, Caribbean, and some US domestic work as well. So we do have multiple programs. A lot of people gave some examples across all those different sectors that we work in. We are also one of the organizations that are responding to COVID, and some of our actual programs are also being able to reallocate funds to help in that area. So exciting in one way, maybe not in another. We are headquartered in Durham, North Carolina. Our executive offices are based there, but we also basically have a very large, and I would say headquartered office in Washington, DC. We have 2 small US-based offices in New York and Atlanta. And as I mentioned, most of the countries that we work in, we have offices there as well. So I'll let Bully go from here on the next slide.
Hello, my name is Buli, Habtamu Buli. I'm the Disability Inclusion Technical Officer at FHI 360. I started there as an intern, and then I became a full-time employee just recently, actually. So we've been working together at FHI 360 for about 2 years, and we've done a disability framework with a Jesse framework where we've established with 10 principles and 9 standards for gender equality and social inclusion across the organization, both internally and in project, including on disability inclusion. Last year, we had a 6-month disability inclusion task force that helped to produce a set of disability inclusion recommendations and a toolkit that multiple teams around the organization are being trained on. And now we're excited to have a lot of people involved with it. And then last year, we also launched several new safeguarding policies that are important to our recruitment process and staff work overall. Those are related to inclusion and disability. And our executive people at our organization are building that, and we're excited that they are interested in making that happen. We are about to launch a new internal equity, diversity, and inclusion strategy 2.0 that will include, will further help advance our disability inclusion internal network. That will help us to create budgets so that we can get out and really work hard to get people who are more diverse and more actively bring out people to be part of our team. And I'll kick it back to you, Lee.
And Lee, you're muted right now, so make sure you unmute yourself, and then you just have if you can wrap it up in just a few.
Yes, I know, we took a little bit.
And can you put my video back on? This is the interpreter.
Yeah, let me.
Okay, thank you very much. So just to go back to a little bit of opportunities with FHI.
Can I pause for a moment? This is the interpreter. We don't have interpreting. Okay, thank you. Okay.
You ready? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so just to talk briefly about opportunities at FHI 360, our website or career website is www.fhi360.org/careers. We are like Chemonics, we have so many positions open, so if you go to our website, you can see what those are. I think there's over 200. We do have domestic and international positions. I mentioned the offices in the States. So domestically, a lot of them are in Washington, D.C. and occasionally in Durham, North Carolina. Internationally, they could be both expats, expatriates, or national locals. So locally within that country, they are citizens of that country. We do also hire consultants. We have a consultant database that you can register in, and we obviously work on a lot of proposals, so bidding for new projects in which we identify key personnel for those roles. Internships, we do a lot of internships. We have some that are formal with universities, and then we have ones just throughout the year that we do. We have been hiring interns during this time, but we are just having to do a few checks and balances on that to make sure we can provide the training and resources that are needed if they are working remote, because we normally do not have them work remote. We do unpaid and paid. Unpaid means you must have school credit in order to do that. So And then fellowships. Sometimes we have fellowships here in the States through schools. We do have an international fellowship that's a little bit more for internal staff than bringing in externally. Benefits. So we have tremendous benefits as well. It sounds like a lot of companies do. One of the big things for us is we do have a pension plan for retirement, which is fully contributed by FHI 360, and it's a 12% contribution. So it's pretty fantastic. We have lots of other perks, but I know we're going to run out of time. And so to me, it's a phenomenal organization with a wonderful mission and holistic approach and incredible people and experts to work with. So thank you for having me, and Bully.
Thank you, Lee, and thank you, Bully.
Also, Elise, our advisor, is here. If she would have, if you have any questions specifically, she can answer those at this time as well.
Fabulous. Well, this is Ashley. I'm going to stop the share for the moment and just want to thank all three of you and to thank all of you for being part of this. And I'm going to share my screen one more time, actually, because I do have one more slide that, again, will be available to everyone after the webinar. Links that can help supplement your job search. You're going to be able to find all of these EDDI member organizations on the MIUSA website with some featured jobs, links to their job websites. And then, of course, to sign up for MIUSA's e-newsletter, where we also feature the latest EDDI member organization job opportunities. And I will provide the links to you separately. The NGO job board is a great resource. This is provided by the umbrella organization Interaction. And the website is ngojobboard.org. And that's a great website to bookmark if you're someone who's interested in international development jobs. So I apologize, we ran a little late, but I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to hear from so many fantastic organizations that are doing incredible work around the world and really making wonderful strides in terms of ensuring that they have a diverse workforce, including employees, interns, board members with disabilities. And we're gonna run out of time before we can get too many questions in. But Susan, before we go to questions, do you want to add anything? Let me unmute you here. Just 1 second, Susan.
I think I'm unmuted now.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, just thank you, Ashley. Just want to really thank all our EDDI presenters. For me, this really moment is sort of a dream come true to really finally have a chance to really highlight the great work that you're doing as EDDI members, but really open up the doors so people with disabilities in the United States, and this recording will be shared globally, can really have a chance to learn about your organizations. And I'm so excited that this is really going to bring those two groups together, and we will see more diverse staff, advisors, technical assistants, and again, building the pipeline of leaders with disabilities. So Ashley, I don't know if we have time to take 1 or 2 questions before we close.
So for those joining us, we'd love to just know in the chat window, you know, we had organizations in the DC area, New York, San Diego, and elsewhere in the country. I'd love to know for our participants here, if you could type in the chat box, where are you located? And if you have any questions, you're welcome to type them in the chat box now while we have some of our presenters available. We have some people from San Antonio, some people in Washington, DC, New Jersey. Let's see. One person is in Atlanta. She wants to know the name of the presenter from Save the Children US, and their names are Trish and Sharon, and I'll make sure you have access to the contact information. We have participants from Iowa City, North Virginia, New York, San Jose, Minnesota. Oh, one question I see is there any remote work available? And there were some presenters who had discussed remote work opportunities through their organizations. If any of the presenters want to pop by and remind us which ones those were, you're welcome to do so.
Ashley, this is Trish from Save the Children. And we do have some remote opportunities available. All of the positions that are remote are listed as such on our website. It's, of course, right now, everyone is remote. We are hoping to be back in the office at some point, but the nature of our work is we're serving children everywhere, so we need to be everywhere.
Very true. Thanks, Trish.
And I want to share that Chemonics does have remote working. I mean, obviously now we're all remote working, but they're accommodating and allowing their employees to do remote work, not only for persons with disabilities, but also for caregivers who want to limit their child care cost. And I want to say that as a person with disabilities, I find that the remote work is extremely accessible in that all their platform has closed captioning. They even have screen readers to allow you to enlarge the text if you're visually impaired. And yeah, they really make sure that the work environment is accessible.
Thank you for that. I love this next question. Is there digital design, videographer, photographer, graphic design positions available? And I've, you know, it's very true. It's working for an international development organization. You know, they need a wide variety of skills, not just those who have Masters in International Development or Public Health, but also the types of people who have the skills to make the organization run. Can any organizations just quickly maybe comment on that?
This is Trish from Save the Children again. We often have those roles, either on a full-time or consultancy basis, depending on what the need is. But we are constantly updating our, and we've done a good job. We've got a lot of digital assets, but we are doing that worldwide. And so any talent in that avenue, please let me know. I'll definitely match you up.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm afraid that is all of our time today, but I did note final questions in the chat window, and we'll try to connect you to the appropriate folks to get that answered. And really just want to thank everybody for sharing more about their organizations, the work they do, and I want to thank the attendees who took time to learn, and we hope you enjoyed and got a lot out of this. You know, it felt like speed dating, but I assure you it was a virtual career fair. And really hope you'll have the opportunity to stay in touch with our presenters today, visit their websites, stay linked to them on social media so that you'll be one of the first ones in the know about new opportunities. So with that, I will say thank you all and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everybody for joining and all our interpreters and MIUSA staff. And congratulations, Ashley, for a fabulous job. So thank you to everybody and onward, upward. This is Susan Siegel from MIUSA.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.